At first sight, Cuba appears to be a country stuck in the past. The streets are full of old American cars, while many of the leading politicians are even older. Raul Castro has now stepped down and there is a new, younger president, Miguel Díaz-Canel. There's also a new generation of millennials coming of age, forging their own styles and connecting to the outside world at Wi-Fi hotspots that are now available across the island. But there's still plenty of connections to the past. 19-year-old Rosalind Mir is president of the Students' Federation at the University of Havana's Faculty of Foreign Languages. Mir is one of more than 500,000 young communists in Cuba.
Yo pertenezco a la Federación, a la Unión de Jóvenes Comunistas desde los 16 años. Me parece maravilloso porque se trataron temas de mucho interés, no solamente políticos, sino también sociales.
And what does communism mean to you?
No me defino como comunista, me defino como socialista y dispuesta al cambio y a todo ese tránsito que...
Cuba is in a period of transition, and one of the key issues facing the new president is how to improve the island's struggling economy. The government has started opening up to a small private sector, but it's a long way short of the market economies of China or Vietnam. Rosalind Mir wants to see further changes, but is wary of going too far.
Yo creo que en realidad a la vez que cambie el modelo económico, ya todo cambia.
So you have to have some capitalism.
No mucho, pero sí, un poco sí.
There are some things that almost all Cubans hope will never change, especially access to free education and health care. Cuba has one of the highest doctor-to-patient ratios in the world. They earn about double the national average, but it's still the equivalent of just $60 a month. There's no shortage, though, of young people wanting to enter the profession, with some 57,000 Cubans attending medical schools around the country. 23-year-old Sheila Alvarez is in her 6th and final year studying medicine in Havana.
Desde pequeña yo inyectaba las muñecas, le hacía operaciones a las lagartijas. Ya era eso lo que hacía, jugaba con esteto. Es que no me preocupaba en realidad por cuánto voy a ganar cuando sea médico. Ahora mismo, por lo que me estoy preocupando es por acabar de hacerme médico.
Alvarez comes from a working-class background. Her father is a handyman, her mother an office worker. Her bedroom doubles as her study. It's where she spends most of her time when not at medical school.
Si hubiese nacido en otro país del mundo, no hubiese podido estudiar medicina. A lo mejor no hubiese terminado el bachiller y hubiese hecho otra cosa, pero medicina, una carrera tan cotizada y tan bien pagada, no, yo creo que no hubiese llegado a estudiar medicina.
A mí que me llamen negro, que me vean diferente, igual seguiré siendo el mismo de sangre caliente que...
Rafael Bo is an Afro-Cuban millennial with a degree in social communications. But these days, he has an alternative way of communicating. Using the stage name El Individuo, the individual, he's given up his day job and now tries to earn a living as a rap artist. And this being Cuba, to do so, Rafael Bu has to be accepted into the state-controlled rapper agency.
Aquí para vivir de la música hay que pertenecer a algo, o sea, alguna empresa que sea del Estado. Que así es como único puedes ganar con tu música, ¿no? Hasta ahora no hemos tenido problemas. O sea, sí hemos tenido problemas en el sentido de por el simple hecho de ser rapero. Ya tú dices, eres rapero y ya te tildan de...
Like so many of his generation here in Cuba, Rafael still lives at home with his parents and he's turned his bedroom into his studio. This is where he comes to practice new material and rehearse before performances. He's also built a small recording studio in the corner. Luckily, his mother seems to like the music and even knows some of the words.
Mi familia, a ver, al principio creo que estaban un poco como que asustados, ¿entiendes? Porque Es complicado terminar una carrera universitaria, casi siempre lo que hace la gente es ya voy a trabajar, ¿entiendes? Y creo que al principio se asustaron un poco, pero bueno, ya creo que ya están viendo un poco de resultados y cosas y creo que están un poco más contentos con lo que está pasando.
Politically, Cuba may have changed little over the years, but socially, the younger generation is striking out on its own. For many, their music is reggaeton and rap, and with growing internet access, there are new windows to the world.
Mi generación yo creo que está en un proceso un poco loco. Mucho reguero de información, muchas transformaciones. Creo que hay muchas nuevas ideas. Creo que nos estamos, de una forma u otra, nos estamos insertando dentro del mundo con esto de que ya está llegando la internet a Cuba, que antes estábamos totalmente fuera de eso.
Llevo bajo mi piel sangre que cruzó mares.
Raphael Bou's breakthrough came with a multimedia compilation album called Afro Razones, exploring Afro-Cuban identity. His track, Mirasa, My Race, received a write-up in the New York Times.
Yo siempre digo que en Cuba no hay un racismo supermercado, pero de una forma u otra lo hay. ¿Entiendes?
What are your dreams for the future?
Me gustaría muchísimo exportar mi música, muchísimo. Y colaborar con muchos artistas de otros países. Y nada, no creo que todo el mundo se siente identificado con lo que digo, pero sí, por lo menos, darle la oportunidad a la gente de que lo escuchen y piensen algo sobre lo que hago.
Cuba's millennials are generally a well-educated generation. Schooling is free all the way through to university, but increasing numbers of graduates no longer want to work in the state sector. The average state salary in Cuba is the equivalent of around $30 US a month. Many young graduates have left the island to improve their standard of living elsewhere. The brain drain also involves millennials like Deborah Velasquez, who quit her state job to work full-time at one of Havana's top-end private restaurants, catering mainly to foreigners.
The dish, everything with rice and black beans.
This 28-year-old is a lawyer by training and worked for several years after graduating at a state-owned civil law practice. But Velasquez felt she couldn't afford to stay in her old job.
Principalmente por la situación económica, o sea, por temas salario y esas cosas. Cuando uno es universitario no piensa nunca en venir a servir a alguien más, pero igual es un trabajo muy bonito. Es algo muy, satisfactorio cuando las personas te agradecen por tu trabajo, por lo que haces. Es bonito.
The restaurant gave Velasquez 3 months training with an emphasis on service and customer satisfaction, something that's often lacking in the state sector. On a good day, she earns more in tips than she would in a month in her old job.
Cuando tu sacrificio o tu trabajo es bien pagado, te esmeras, o cuando cobras por lo que trabajas, te esmeras más en lo que estás haciendo.
30-year-old Urien Gutierrez is married with a young child and, like many millennials, still lives at home with his parents. He has a degree in information technology and rose to become head of a state-run office importing and distributing computer parts. But he's given up his management job to repair computers at home. Many of those he went to college with, like thousands of other graduates, have left Cuba to find work abroad. Gutierrez decided to stay and set up his own modest business.
Yo soy de la opinión de que si me siento bien y puedo vivir, ¿no? Con el salario que uno tiene, no tengo que salir y emigrar a ver otros mundos, ¿no? A lo mejor me gustaría, ¿no? Conocer, ¿no? Pero no es mi ambición de explorar.
In the future, Gutierrez hopes to expand and open a workshop employing a couple of people and to afford an apartment of his own. Back at the restaurant, Deborah Velasquez still enjoys her work but hopes that in the future, Cuba's economic reforms will allow lawyers to work in the private sector as well.
Mi gran sueño sería trabajar en un bufete particular, o sea, que me permita ejercer lo que realmente amo, que es lo que yo estudié, que es la abogacía, y además de eso me permita también una estabilidad económica superior. Eso sería muy bueno.
For some Cuban millennials, their dreams have come true. IDANIA Del Rio is a graphic designer and entrepreneur who's opened a shop called Clandestina in Old Havana, selling Cuba's first clothing brand. Del Rio designs and produces silkscreen printed t-shirts, clothes and accessories. In 4 years, the business has grown to the point where Clandestina employs 27 people. No easy feat given Cuba's limited resources and constant shortages.
Well, we find whatever we can. Sometimes it's this pink fabric, sometimes it's a different one. For example, we buy the inks in Mexico. Sometimes we don't have blue, sometimes we have only black.
Like many of her generation, IDANIA Del Rio left Cuba shortly after graduating to find work abroad. But in 2013, as Cuba started to expand the private sector, she and her Spanish partner decided to return.
Yeah, I decided to come back and try a little bit what was going on. It was like a really fresh, unknown opportunity. We don't have any, business background. We didn't have a single idea about how to do this.
What's it like for a private entrepreneur trying to do business here in Cuba?
From Cuba, that is an amazing country, but it's really disconnected.
Do you have internet here?
No.
So how do you do this business?
Well, we go to the park and stay there with the computer.
Like most Cubans, Del Rio's only access to the internet is at the Wi-Fi hotspots that the government has set up in parks and other locations. Her big breakthrough came during former US President Barack Obama's historic trip to Cuba in 2016. She spoke at a meeting he organized between US businessmen and Cuban entrepreneurs. Obama was impressed and wanted to buy some of her T-shirts for his daughters.
I think Malia and Sasha might want a couple. And I still have some pesos to spend before I leave.
But times have changed, and under US President Donald Trump, fewer Americans are visiting Cuba. So Clandestina has gone to the United States instead. They may not have any internet in the shop, but that hasn't stopped Clandestina from becoming the first private Cuban business to open an international e-commerce site. In October 2017, she threw a party at the shop to launch her website, clandestina.co. With the help of US partners, Americans can now view and buy her clothes online. The designs are sent to the US, printed and shipped from there. In April this year, in a major step forward, Del Rio announced that her products are now available on Amazon. Another first for Cuba.
I would love to think that we are kind of an inspiration to the young people, to young designers, to any creative people that, can see that it's possible to do something like this.
Cuba's millennials are a generation in transition. There are new opportunities, but they remain limited. The challenge for the new government is how to meet their aspirations and harness their potential.
Crecer es un acto natural que con el tiempo suele transformar nuestra manera de pensar. Errar es de humano, pero mi poca experiencia me ha enseñado la diferencia entre caer y claudicar. Es necesario antes de correr, caminar y aprender que es mejor a veces perder que ganar y sin miedo a perder, trabajar para ganar.